Just curious later.
For Sarah.
Yeah. Um, let's just really quickly as possible wrap up the case study because that has to be turned in Thursday. Um, was it Charlie that kind of revamped the first?
That was
No,
me.
that was Anna.
Anna, okay.
It was our
Uh,
two parts. I kind of just mine and Charlie's. I mean, I just
Right.
a
yeah,
little
You
because
did a
better
better. I couldn't
transition.
wrap my head around how to do it, so you did a great job on that, by the way.
Yeah, I covered a lot of stuff and you covered too, but in a different
R-
way. So I just tried to smooth
Right.
it.
I thought some of the questions were kind of
Asking the
redundant.
same thing. Yeah, they definitely were.
Right. Yeah.
Definitely were.
okay, so do you think somebody made a suggestion to put in some like section headings, and I
Oh,
think
that was
that's a
me
good
again.
idea. Okay.
Just
Are
to
you
break
guys?
it up a little bit for those that are reading it, to study it, because it's pretty long and there's a lot of information. Just to like let them know, like this is what we're teaching you now. This is what we're teaching you now. Kind of
Right. Okay.
break it up. I'm not sure where those would go though, and I don't know how to edit a PDF. So
Yeah, I can. I'll do it. The reason why sometimes when you open up, like especially in the BYU email, if you open up a Word document, like in read only, the pictures are all over the place, and you got to go
yeah, it
left to
comes up
right.
like garbage. I definitely like a PDF better. I just don't know how to make one or edit one.
Oh, well, like in Word, you can just save it as a PDF.
Oh, that I can do. I'm just saying I
Oh,
can't go back
oh,
to
sorry.
Word from this. I tried copying and pasting, and I had to like delete a whole
Yeah.
bunch of stuff and fix the page breaks and
I mean, if
paragraphs.
in the future, if somebody wants to edit, a lot of times I'll send something in PDF and Word just in case you want to edit it. PDF, I think I'll submit it in PDF because it'll be easier for people to read. Plus, your formatting doesn't get messed up if people have different versions of Word.
Sure.
So,
Agreed.
Thank you for everything you guys have done extra.
all right, and I am gonna put in Jana Lee's paragraph because I think it was
I
a
think
really
so
good
too.
summary
The only
paragraph.
part, the very last line that starts into, oh, there's a word you use. Actually, there was like a few, like different people's names and some weird word I'd never heard of that like kind of leads you into the next topic. I think we can just delete that one line, just right off the end of it. Let me see if I have it up pretty still. Because I was like, do I need to get um, my whatchamacallit out, my dictionary? Because it wasn't on this topic. I don't even know where I have it. I have it open somewhere. Am I making any sense?
Mom, can I come in?
No, you can't come in.
All right.
That's right. You can hear my husband eating milk and cookies and watching TV in the next room too.
Well, when I've got my headphones on, they can't tell if I'm doing
Yeah.
anything or not. So.
Where is it?
Oh, I'm
Okay. Anything else anybody wants to look at or do with the case study?
I don't have anything.
No, I think it looks good. I think it's well put together. I think we answered the questions. Um, so, I mean, from at least my opinion is that there's not a lot to mess with for sure. I think including Jana Lee's information in there would be excellent. Um, but after that, I don't think that we need to mess with it at all.
You know, I thought I saw Jana Lee's paragraph, and I'm scrolling through the emails.
Yeah,
Yeah, I can't find it anymore either.
I think the attachment got um stopped forwarding or something. I couldn't.
Can you just, Jana Lee, why don't you do this? Can you just cut and paste the body of an email, just to me, not to the group.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm actually having trouble finding where I saved it.
It was really good. So I'm like, where did it go? I thought I had it open still, but I don't.
It had some resources that were from actual encyclopedias and not online, so I wasn't sure if that would be okay with Brother Miller.
Oh yeah, it's fine. You just have to, write the
So
citation.
I have an email here from her, and
I
I
think
don't
I
know if
found
this
it.
is what you guys are talking about. It has a bunch of the different links in there that she used. It has a couple pictures.
I found it. What
Oh,
role did this conflict play in the eventual collapse of the Soviet Empire?
yeah, for some reason it's not coming up on. Oh, I would love a copy. Or that to me in an email real quick.
I would love to. Download it this time instead of just opening it. Gorgeous.
I know we opened with a prayer last week,
Oh
and
yeah, we should do that.
um, there was this. I started working in the temple and as a volunteer, because you can work as a volunteer and still have children at home. And they shared this cool scripture. It's it's kind of random for me to just jump in there, but it's so special. Revelation 7, 13 to the end. I don't know if you guys want me to read it at some point. It's a little spiritual thought, or just read it on your own. But it's
Read it.
oh, and one of the elders answered, saying unto me, What are these which are arrayed in white robes, and whence came they? And I said unto them, Sir, thou knowest. And he said to me, These are they which came out of great tribulation, and have washed their robes, and made them white in the blood of the Lamb. Therefore are they before the throne of God, and serve him day and night in his temple. And he that sitteth on the throne shall dwell among them. They shall hunger no more, neither thirst any more, neither shall the sun light on them, nor any heat. For the Lamb which is in the midst of the throne shall feed them, and shall lead them unto living fountains of waters, and God shall wipe away all tears from their eyes.
That's good.
Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome. Okay. Maybe my email is slow, but
I just sent it. Sorry, I was having trouble figuring out what email to send it to.
Thank you so much.
I just sent it. You should get it any second. I'm slow. I prefer using a mouse, but I'm not using it. All that finger poking stuff.
Okay, I got it here.
Yeah, so the only part that I would leave out would be the upon the close of night of the Soviet Empire, the dawn of
Wait, what part?
perestroika. It's the very last sentence. Talking about Yeltsin and shock therapy and
Oh, yeah.
boosting the Russian Federation's economy. I don't think we need to
Right.
worry about that part. I just
Yeah.
delete that, but everything else is wonderful.
Right.
Yeah, just leave out that Russia's Vietnam, because we talked about that elsewhere, about Vietnam. Just my thoughts.
Oh, there it is.
Okay, I'm going to save this so I can work with it later. All right, who wants to take the lead with the Futures Project and kind of wrangling us all in a coherent direction?
I can if you want me to, but I might not be as up on it as somebody else at the moment. I do have all the forms printed out to refer to that we had online to utilize.
Right. If you want to do it, go for it.
I don't want to.
Neither do I. Is that terrible?
I will if you want me.
I mean, I'm fine to do it. Same thing. I think it's not going to be too terribly difficult. We seem like a pretty willing group to do our part. You know, I assume normally you're saying this that things like all the I think you're talking just kind of a ringleader, right? Hey, let's get this by this day, and still sticking with the various assignments where somebody is creating the scripts and
I think, yeah, that's what I mean.
Okay, I'm happy to be a ringleader if you guys would like me to be a ringleader.
Okay.
All right, I think the first thing that would really help us get focused is an outline.
Right.
Yeah, there was an outline on a step-by-step development. Download the podcast show outline. There wasn't much to it, but so I think we can just do our own little outline.
Right.
Did you all happen to take a look at that? It was download the podcast show outline link at the top of the step-by-step development. And I'll just click it again. And
I'm not seeing that.
I don't know where. Are you looking in Futures Project?
there it is. Yeah, it's under Futures Project. The Futures Project instructions.
Okay.
How to plan your podcast.
Oh, how to plan your podcast. Okay.
And when you pull that up, there's a link at the top. And when you click that link, it opens up a document in Word. And it gives an example of an outline. And then at the end, there's an audio cue sheet.
Oh, okay, I see it.
Okay.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay. So we still need to figure out what our outline is for our topic to fit it into
Right.
this. I thought, I'm like, where are you finding an outline for our topic? That's amazing. That work is already done.
Oh.
Okay, so is everybody else's outline like a bunch of jibber jabber?
Yeah, it's in another language or something.
Okay, I'm just making sure it's not just me.
Well, that's just what they do when they kind of like insert information here.
Right, so it's just this is how you would set it up. Okay. Audio cue sheet. Okay. So we have our main topic of the women's rights in Pakistan.
I have a friend that was one of the only 5 PAC paid employees when PAC could pay him not PAC, what's that group that Patriot, I don't know what you call them. They're very patriotic and they are politicians and Tea Party, the original Tea Party group.
Okay.
She sent me a few links on the subject I can forward to the researchers. Do we have 2 researchers for this one?
Myself and Sarah, who's in Ghana.
Yeah, that makes this a lot harder.
It really does, actually,
She doesn't seem
because
to put anything on.
I don't
Right.
think that she totally understands, and she actually, I briefly spoke to her a couple weeks ago because she was struggling, and so I was like, hey, if you need to call me, here's my number, and I didn't realize that she was in Ghana until I have this phone number that says Ghana, and I'm like, what in the world? And then she left me a message and then called back. And I spoke to her, and I don't know how much English she understands. She was very difficult to understand, and she was not understanding me very well either. So that I think is going to be a challenge.
What time is it there right now?
3 a.m.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I wish she, I don't know. I think I would. I like to say I would be willing to get up to try to figure out
At
what's
least
going on for a
once.
project like this, but I don't know.
Shy because of the language.
Right, right. And yeah, and I think too, if she were even joining this, I think she would not understand a lot of it.
Yeah, we probably talk up really fast.
Right. So, okay, so we have her and I as the 2 researchers, and there was some confusion about what that meant for the bibliographies that we have to do this week. Right?
Here's my 2 cents. I mean, they have that format, but correct me if I'm wrong. Here's kind of what I see. We need to have an audio presentation that is 5 to 6 minutes long. No less than 5 minutes, no more than 6 minutes. And we need to have everybody participating in it. So I think we can do it as, I think we have 2 choices to do the format to do it in. Not format like audio, video, or written, but format. We could do something like an interview where we have or like a panel discussion where we have like a moderator who asks each of us a question. So what is really the history of women's rights in Pakistan? Get me up to speed on that.
And they had rights, and then they didn't have rights, and now
Right,
they're trying to
Right. So we have one person
wax and wane.
talk about the history.
Yeah, and that's, I think, was mine. And I did a little bit of research on that. So, like, for example, I would answer that question.
Right. So I'm kind of thinking maybe what we should do is just get an outline and put together six topics that we want to talk about, from starting off with history of women's rights in Pakistan all the way through the last topic being what does the future hold? What does the future hold for women in Pakistan? So that would be number
Right.
6. And so each of those would be a 10-second question or 5-second question, and then a 45 to 50-minute answer. And we do 6 of those. Each of us do one. And so in the end, we end up with a 5 to 6 minute podcast. If we each do the research for our own question, if we do the research and the bibliography, then we just
Combine it all.
Right. I might have 3 sources, 5 sources, whatever, and each person may have 3 or 5 sources. So we submit. That's at the end of this week, right?
Saturday.
Right.
Okay, so each of us just submits 3 to 5 sources for the question we're going to answer, and we submit that at the end of the week. Between now and week 9, we each put together the script, the question that's going to be asked of us, and then our answer. So then we submit that as a script. I mean, we don't have to wait till week 9, but so we
Sure.
each just work on our little theme, do the research. We'll be the person answering the question, and then we'll have our illustrious audio editor put those all together.
I
I
like
like
the
that.
idea.
Yeah, I like that better than one person in charge of one big chunk and somebody in charge of something completely different.
Sounds more interesting to me.
It definitely does. I don't think other teams will do it like that.
Okay, so we'll call it round table format. Okay.
All right, so we have question number 6. What does the future hold for the women of Pakistan? What do we want to start off as the first question?
You know, one, since I'm the only guy, would be, as a man in Pakistan, how do you view women?
I like that one.
Are you going to speak with an accent?
You know, I was thinking about that. Am I going to do this? I really think that they should be cooking for the men when they come home from work. I don't know if that's...
A little more a poo.
Pretty good.
That's actually pretty good.
Do medical transcription, and this
That's fantastic.
one doctor was from India, Dr. Uden, and he talked like this. Oh my goodness,
Yeah.
his regular English words sounded like this complicated medical term.
Isn't that funny? I watched one of the videos for the Digging Deeper. It's the Sikh family, and just listening to them talking to each other, it's like, what? It
Right?
seems like that, like they're speaking English, but are they speaking English? It's just the way that they phrase things. Or there's the podcast about Islam's beliefs on Jesus Christ, and he keeps saying raise the dead to life, and like that's not a way that we would say that. It just was interesting to hear how differently they phrase things.
Would a good question be, in addition to, as a man in Pakistan, how do you view women? Was there anything else, Norman, you wanted to say about that?
Well, and we can kind of fine tune these as you do research and things. I might approach it not necessarily as a particular man in Pakistan, but just approach it that there are varying views, because I've really appreciated Malala's dad's view about women.
Right.
But then you can contrast that with the imam across the street, his
That I thought was
view
really
about
interesting
women.
too. How they're so
And then,
sacred, they should be like out of sight,
right,
kept so completely away from the world.
right. But you know how Malala's dad really honored and respected his wife, and so anyway, I'll delve into that. So we need to come up with 4 more.
Right.
I was wondering if, would a good question be, what did Jenna think of women? Because I can't find it off the top of my head right now with Malala's book, but she quoted Jenna's opinion of women and they're important.
That reminds me of something. Famous Pakistani women, because Malala talked about, I can't remember who the one lady is that's like really
I
like a heroine.
Pluto's wife or something. The
No,
co-chair of
somebody like
something.
from ages ago, like centuries ago.
right. One of the sources that I have that in my list that I'd started to compile when I was a researcher was it's
You're
the
fired.
history of women. It's the history of women empowerment in Pakistan, and it's basically a timeline of women's history in Pakistan of like kind of what you said, like significant female figures throughout Pakistani history.
Okay. Again, the thing is, this is
So
not this is kind of an inch deep and 20 feet wide. We're not going in depth in 5 to 6 minutes with this. So we really don't need to come up with a ton of stuff to fill 5 to 6 minutes.
no. Mm.
Kind of
I
the
think
key
we
I think
points.
definitely need to
referencing
touch.
some of them would be a good idea.
What
But
was
what
that, Anna?
did you say, Anna?
I was going to say, I think referencing some of those important women in Pakistan's history would definitely be a good starting point. Like, not necessarily focusing too much of our time on it, but to like name drop, I guess, would be a way to put it.
Well, I think it becomes important because you have women that were,
Like Malala.
I mean, they were the plowing the way for the creation of Pakistan. There were women that were right alongside Gina, and then I think so. You kind of need to mention some of these women, and Malala and that sort of thing, as you're going back down the line to where these women are supposed to be holed up in their kitchens, in their homes, not allowed to come into public view, not allowed to speak, not allowed to vote, and that sort of thing. I think you have to have these significant women in the Pakistani history to get to this point where, unlike many places in the world where women's rights and the history of women has developed and gotten better, it's gone backwards in Pakistan. And so that would be my argument for saying that you need to include that to get to what the reality is now.
Right. Another part, when you were talking, kind of reminded me, a really good section I think would be what what did Muhammad, peace be his soul, or whatever they always say. Does that
Muhammad
bug you
Ali
guys?
Jinnah? Is that who? Muhammad
When
Ali Jinnah? Is that who?
no,
No, Muhammad.
the Prophet Muhammad. What did so I would just call that section the Prophet Muhammad and women. So maybe just quote a couple little sections out of the Quran that talk that Muhammad says women should be loved and respected, or this from the teachings of Muhammad. This is what uh, this is what he taught about women, or what he felt about women, what his divine revelations on women were.
I think we might also want to include some of what Sharia law says
Yes,
about
definitely.
women and their
Sharia law.
whole Sharia. I don't know those words. um, but yeah, not
Yeah,
necessarily the stuff that we've covered in class, but maybe like digging a little deeper into like
right.
what
Well,
the
I think
actual
you
rules
have
are.
to include that because that's what the reality is now
Yeah.
for them is the Sharia law. I read a lot about acid throwing, a lot of the abuse. I think that's unfortunately a lot of what their quote unquote rights are
Right.
anymore is that they don't have any.
Isn't it like families doing that? It's just
Right.
crazy to like their own family.
So that
So
would be a
another.
good.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Whitney.
So I was reading an article about this, and Pakistan has come up with a new law they're trying to pass right now in
Yep.
protection of women against violence, and they're trying to pass it this year. I think that'd be something interesting to mention.
Right. I
Yeah.
have several sources about that, and it's interesting because there's a lot in there in that, like, kind of that on the surface looks and sounds really good, and underneath people are saying, no way is this going to work. It still
Yeah.
isn't enough. So, but I think it's definitely interesting, again, in that, so I don't know what you could title that as, what is being done to protect women's rights maybe now?
Well, that was my topic presentation topic was Sharia, and we'll lift this up because I called it a, let me find it in my files here, topic presentation.
I can hit replay and listen to it again.
Good. Good. Yeah. Of cultures, because I remarked that 2013 marked the appointment of Pakistan's first female judge, and the Chief Justice called it a historic oath-taking ceremony that shows Pakistanis are an enlightened people. But on the other side of that, legislation to ban child marriages and protect women from discrimination and violence was struck down as the Council of Islamic Ideology said it was anti-Islamic and blasphemous. And that all stemmed back to Colonel Zia, like 1978, 1979. He really gave the government, and especially this, what was it called? Council of Islamic Ideology. He gave them extreme power. So basically, Parliament could pass a law that protects women's rights and protects them against violence and things like that. But then all the laws, before they go into effect, have to get reviewed and approved by this Council of Islamic Ideology, which is filled with imams and kind of far right religious leaders. And they struck down the law that would have prevented child marriages. And it's like, so it's really the somewhat secular but movement that's trying to be modern, versus these hardline religious leaders. So I definitely think that's a point, whether it's included in the Sharia law and women, and the struggle to get protection for women enacted in Pakistani law, and that struggle between people in favor of women's rights and the fundamental Islamic so whoever does that, I can give them a lot of resources for that.
My
I think
Firefox
we
says,
need a couple more.
We need a couple. I have 6 right now.
Some off.
my Firefox closed. So
I don't know about you guys, but stuff is getting like wonky all of a sudden.
yeah,
It is for me
Okay.
as well.
Charlie sideways.
Yeah, because I had to plug my phone in, and the charger is at the bottom. Sorry. You guys are all sideways too.
I missed the last about 2 minutes of what Norm said because my
Sure.
Firefox closed and I had to rejoin the group.
So the resources for a topic about basically about the Council of Islamic Ideology and
Okay.
some of the current political actions or lack thereof, if you will, to protect women today. But so Norm said we need a few more. Are you wanting to have more than 6?
Well, I'm not sure what the 6 are that we have.
So
Let me just
I've kind of
say what I have and fill in the blanks.
Norman, you
yeah,
are going wonk wonk.
he
Well,
is.
I think maybe
Fill in the
oh,
No, it's not working. And if you hover over the main picture, you can adjust your bandwidth usage and like drag it way down so you don't use as much. So your video won't be as clear, but we'll hear you better. Maybe.
let me just try turning my camera off.
You sound clear there.
Yeah, it's hard to point the finger at whose bandwidth it is, but anyway,
Oh, yeah, it's him.
can you hear
Still
me
doing
now?
it. In and out.
could it be my bandwidth? Is there
Okay.
something I can do?
Doubtful. I don't know.
Go for it, Norm. Let's see.
Okay, so the first one is the Quran and Muhammad's teachings on women.
Right.
Second one would be significant women in Pakistan history.
Yes.
I don't know what the other than, let's say number 3 is a man's perspective of women in Pakistan. Number 4 could be Sharia law
Yeah.
and women.
Yeah.
Number 5 could
I
be
think with what Whitney was talking about, the
political
protection of women against
conflict.
violence.
Number 6,
I missed number 5.
Yeah,
and
he's
then
breaking
number
up.
6 could be
Norm,
okay.
say number
So
5. Say
Yeah.
number 5 again.
number
Okay,
five, number 5 would be political conflict over women's rights.
With the Council of Islamic Ideology.
Yes.
That's what I had that kind of lumped together in one. So
And number
then
6 would be women's future, kind of a speculative.
Yeah, that's it.
what does the future hold for the women of Pakistan?
Right.
Yep, that's the 6 that I had written down as we were talking.
Same here. Same order, too. Interesting. Meant to be.
Great. So do we want to divvy these up tonight?
I would say yes, so we can
I
get
would
our
say yes,
sources
so we can
together.
just get it done.
All right. Norm, you're the one that mentioned being the sole guy in the group. Do you want that men in Pakistan topic, or would you like you mentioned one that you already have a significant amount of research for. What do you want?
Because it's table discussion, as a man, if you were a man in Pakistan, how would you view women?
Oh, we can't hear you, but you want to type what you're...
He's taking number 3.
He's taking the men's one? Okay. How
I
about...
can do the first one, Muhammad and the Quran on women.
Yeah, I don't think I have mine in the same order, so if you don't mind specifying, that'll help me.
Yeah, I number 1 as, women in the Quran, or Muhammad's view on women.
The Mohammed one, Anna, okay. Whitney or Janalee, do you all have a preference?
I think...
Let's try to give...
Go ahead, Norm.
Before we get
You're
before
out. Yeah, we can't hear you.
too full
Not at all.
No.
research, like significant women or something like
We don't know what you're saying.
that. Try. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Sometimes.
Okay.
Make it short.
Let's give
Forward.
Sarah something easy. Let's give Sarah
Women in history.
something easy before.
Okay. Women in history for Sarah?
Yes.
I would agree. That one's pretty easy.
Okay.
So that's
Jana Lee or
number 2 for Sarah?
Yes.
significant women in Pakistan history, yeah. Whitney or Jana Lee, do you have a preference?
No.
No, you can just throw me one and I'll take it.
Me too.
All right. Jana Lee, do you want to do the current politics and Council of Islamic Ideology and get sources from Norm on that, apparently?
Okay, current.
All right.
Would that be number 4 or 5?
Number 5.
5.
Yeah, the protection of women against violence, what's being done to protect their rights now. Got the first female judge, 2013.
So then does that leave me the future?
Do you want the future? We have future and the Sharia law left.
I'll do future.
All right. Cool. I wanted Sharia law, so that works out.
Okay, good. If you want a future, you can take it.
No, I'm happy with doing the Sharia law one.
Okay.
Gorgeous.
Is anyone going to type up how they see number 5 for me? Because
I think.
Oh yeah, because you totally missed that, didn't you?
Yes, you did.
Yeah, sorry.
I think for number 5, Whitney had been talking about how they're trying to pass a law this year to protect women against violence. And Norman was talking about how in his topic presentation for this week, which I don't know if you watched that yet, but it has a lot of information about this. So you can kind of cannibalize his research for yours for some of this stuff, which is nice.
Norman, I thought Norman might want that one because then he's worked so hard on this other one. Maybe he would like to take it easier. But I think he might be gone.
No, I'm
he's still
here.
there.
Oh, Norman.
I'll put it together for you, Jana Lee, with some references and what I had as far as background.
Are you sure you don't want to just take it since you?
No, it's fine.
Okay.
I want to be the man. Come on, let me be a man.
If it's really, really late, my voice gets pretty low, so I could do the man one too.
I think if Norman did it like the man one, it would be nice in the presentation.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I agree. Cool.
All right, so.
All right, we need a dead bibliography.
Yeah. Oh, Charlie, you're supposed to be ringleaded.
We need a what?
Due date.
A due date for the bibliography?
Yeah, we need to get all of our bibliography sources.
So I think everybody
at the end of the week.
I think everybody submits them individually.
Yeah, but I think it's supposed to be
For
compiled for the whole project. So we need one whole list, and then everybody submits it themselves.
So do we all send our own as a group message, and then I can, or Charlie or whoever can send it to the whole list to everybody, and then that's what we submit Saturday?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, then.
Do you want me to do that, or do you want to do that?
Let's see here.
Or am I missing something?
I'm sorry. What did you ask, Jana Lee? I apologize.
Is there one person you would like to accumulate everybody's bibliography references and then send the final list to our group, and that's what we all submit for our assignment due on Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, so I'm thinking, I mean, I don't know what your all schedules are. I mean, I'm definitely going to probably have this thrown together by tomorrow or Thursday for sure. But I think we can extend, you know, are we, I think we're probably still safe if we say Friday night. If people want to have the bibliographies emailed, or we can create a Google Doc if we think that has worked well. And then, you know, if everybody gets that in by Friday night, is that enough time for all of you?
Yeah.
I think so. And Norman wrote us all a note here.
Oh, that was the email from Brother Miller.
Yeah, that's the
Oh,
APA.
Right.
I say APA, but that's my vote.
APA? All right.
So there'll just be a Word doc that we'll have open for all of us to put our stuff in. Is what we're saying?
Yes, we're gonna.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Sooner the better.
I can go ahead and create that Google Doc tonight if that is what you guys would like us to use.
okay.
Yeah. So I could get it
Easy.
done by tomorrow also, so that's why I'm asking.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd say
Yes.
if we could all try and shoot for Thursday night instead of Friday night.
Okay.
I mean, that works best. I generally finish my work Thursday night, so I have the entire weekend. But obviously, my schedule allows that a little more than others sometimes. So, yeah, so we can have a tentative. You know, Thursday night would be awesome, but you know, we can wait till Friday night if we need to.
And one thing to keep in mind is, should somebody not get their information in on time, not the end of the world, because he's expecting our bibliographies to change over the course of the project. We're not going to use every resource. We might find more, you know.
Yeah.
I think we just need to get something together.
Yeah.
So
Sounds good.
awesome.
What's the next thing that's due after the bibliography this week? What's the next thing?
Rough draft of our script in 4 weeks, which really is basically we each need to come up with our, you know, little less than a minute long answer of our own question, and then we can, same thing, Google Doc, keep it all together and just figure out how it's going to go and who's going to moderate and blah, 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 which that I can take care of doing that part.
So,
Thank you.
this is actually excellent. So that's something to consider as we are collecting these sources, is that, yeah, when you break it down, we are only looking for about 45 seconds worth of information. So we don't need to have 10 sources each necessarily.
Right.
You know, yeah, so I think, yeah, that's a good reminder for people, so we're not going crazy and then suddenly go, what? I only had to talk for 40 seconds?
How am I going to fit all this research in?
Right.
And did you all watch the example and how they said, and now so-and-so is going to share blah, 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 blah. And
I thought that was dorky. Is that terrible?
No, it's not. What do you like instead?
I thought it was so dorky. I would rather be like, so Gina Lee, tell me how you feel about blah, 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 blah. You know, like I'd rather it was more like informal than their, I'm so-and-so and I'm so-and-so and now I'm going to talk about this. No, just talk about it. You don't have to, I don't know, people, it was, I thought it was a little juvenile of them.
Okay.
Sorry. I hated it.
That's so awesome.
I'm sorry.
So awesome.
I do.
I love the honesty. If our work is garbage, Anna will tell us.
No, that's not what I mean. It was
No,
so boring.
I
it
know.
was so just like run of the mill, like it
Sure.
was so dull. Like I think we're interesting people. We're having like conversation, like us talking to each other about this
Right.
topic is interesting to me. So let's just talk about this topic for the
So we
class.
should just record one of these conference sessions and then.
Exactly.
There you
Which we could
With
do. It could just be
with
our
that in
picture
mind,
talking about it like this.
with that in mind, when you're putting together your info, try to do a little bit of a tie-in to the previous topic.
And maybe like a lead into the next one.
Right, right.
Like just like kind of end it and like, well, that brings me to another question. What about blah blah blah? Like it could be like a talk
The
show
moderator,
kind of thing.
yeah,
It's
the
gonna be fun.
moderator can do that.
It's gonna be fun.
Okay.
We're gonna get an A.
Okay.
Big fat A.
Okay, so with that then I guess I need to make sure that, so I think we had orders that were slightly different. So what, Anna and Norm, I think you guys kind of had the better idea of what your orders were. So what's question number 1?
Something along the lines of Muhammad's view on women and what the Quran
Okay,
says
so
about women.
that one's number 1.
Yeah. Number 2, significant women in history, Pakistani history. 3 was as a man in Pakistan, yada yada yada. 4 was the Sharia law.
Okay.
5 is about the current state of affairs for women in Pakistan and their rights and what's going on with that. And 6 would be the future. The future holds.
I'm half expecting Anna to turn into a pumpkin. It's midnight.
Oh, it's 12:01. The baby woke up like an hour ago crying. I don't know if you guys heard that. It was not an hour ago, but feels like an hour. Cuddling with daddy.
You said Sharia law was number 4?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Sharia law and women, right?
Yeah, exactly. Women in Sharia law, how it affects them, or what their roles are, or what the rules are.
Since this is an audio presentation, it really is Sharia.
Is it? So I was right?
It's Sharia, not Sharia.
Oh, I thought it was Sharia, but Charlie told me it was Sharia, so I changed
I
it.
actually listened to a
Interesting.
1.5-hour presentation from this Muslim guy on some campus about how Sharia law is already in America, because when he prays 5 times a day, he's observing Sharia law. So those people that are worried about Sharia law coming to America, it's too late. It's already here.
Interesting.
And that's how he pronounced it. So.
Out of the mouth of a Muslim. All right, so are we golden? They're all going to get our APA format bibliography sources together on Charlie's Google Doc. Try for Thursday night. If not, not a big deal. Just still put it on there.
Right.
And submit it yourself when you're ready.
Who's going to reach out to Sarah to kind of help her understand?
Did this get recorded?
Yes.
So, well, if you'll send that out, and then I will send her an email.
Okay.
Cool.
She probably will understand us really well, because she'll be able to see our, see us talking. It's easier than over the phone.
Right. Yeah. Hopefully she'll be able to understand it, and and maybe we had a bad connection or something. So I'll cross my fingers that we'll have an easy time communicating, and she'll be able to understand and feel comfortable with it. I hope so. That's the goal.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
Well, all right. Well, if you guys are done, I'm done.
Sayonara.
Okay, I'm stopping the recording.
Okay.
All right.
Have a good night.
Good night, y'all.
Thank